When was the last time what's going on in your head was more interesting than the algorithm? Probably a long time ago, even though the feed is so repetitive and draining. I'll give you 5 ways to regain your imagination while we are taking a winter walk in Copenhagen, Denmark. To set the tone, let's imagine a world where imagination doesn't exist. For those of you who have watched the series Pluribus, you have an idea of what that might look like. I've just finished episode 5, but I've already noticed so many parallels between what's happening there and our loss of imagination. Spoilers ahead. In short, the plot is that due to a radio signal sent from space, people on Earth have suddenly become a collective mind. They've lost their autonomy except for a group of individuals who are immune to this virus of this collective consciousness, and one of them is the main character, Carol. While the sudden loss of individuality overnight is shocking to her and she finds this hive mind creepy to say the least, the other survivors don't seem to be so bothered by it. Doesn't that sound familiar? It applies to our reality so much. Because despite everything we understand about consuming content excessively, there are still people who simply don't care that they have lost their imagination. The main character Carol is far from perfect, but she is authentic. And just like her, we have a choice and responsibility to stay human, keep our imagination and autonomy. Imagination is already becoming the most valuable currency because it is the ability to be creative, to envision images, concepts, form new ideas, which are things that AI can do, but it simply cannot feel, no matter the kinds of prompts that we're using. Only you can. But how will you have the mental clarity, the emotional depth, and the time to use your imagination if you're constantly scrolling, looking at the same things that everyone else is watching? You're stuck in this loop, repeating what they have seen, heard, and not even realizing it. Using the tips I'll suggest now while simultaneously decreasing your screen time will help you regain some of the flow of your imagination. In no particular order, tip number 1. Find your childhood books and look at the illustrations. I haven't brought many of my childhood books to Denmark, even though I had the chance over the years. But this Christmas I've decided to open the ones that are here. Instead of watching more series, another Netflix movie, turning the pages ignited something in me. It was a deeply healing experience, and it exposed how empty scrolling to content is. I could remember not only the stories, but the emotions that I felt when I was reading those as a child. The feeling of safety, curiosity, and this cannot compare to the perfect digital content that has no soul, and it's being pushed down our throats more aggressively than ever. Childhood books are uniquely meaningful, and experiencing them again as an adult through the same eyes is something that you cannot share through a link, be given a discount code for. Next, find another way to engage in pop culture if that's an interest that you really would like to keep, but don't consume the latest gossip. Imagine the lifestyle and hidden talents of celebrities with little to no public image. For me, those that come to mind are Alexa Demi and Mia Goth. Another season of Euphoria is coming, and also a new Star Wars movie. There are some interviews out there, some information, but not nearly as much as of other celebrities because they share daily on their Instagram. Finally, some mystery, but close your wallet because the purpose is not to buy their charisma and style. Be your own muse for once. Stop trying to emulate everyone that you admire. Imagine an individual, improved version of yourself that may or may not have some of those characteristics. No need for comparison. Tip number 3, memories with no pictures. This is very self-explanatory. Recreate old memories in as much emotional and visual detail as you can. But don't look into old photos, Google the places or ask your friends. This will probably be more enjoyable with happy memories, places you have visited or read about. For me, it's Gerald Darrow's books, the ones about his adventures on the Greek island of Corfu. I have been to Greece before, not to Corfu specifically, but while reading the stories, I could swear I was there. Looking inwardly and trying to remember what I was envisioning in my mind when reading about the animals and the nature feels like happy sparks lighting up my brain. Number 4, become more interested in the process than the aesthetic. Forget about the final results, calling it something, making it part of a trend. Get your hands busy at home or go somewhere where arts and crafts are appreciated. In Denmark, Copenhagen specifically, that would be places like Creative Space and Smoke Bar, where you can make your own ceramics and jewels. but any other place would do. You can start crafting with a theme in mind or just collect objects if handcrafts are not your thing, and that will still help you to awaken your imagination. Learn about these objects, cherish them and take care of them, and don't be bothered about what anybody else might think about your personal taste. Nowadays, it's so common to feel validated if you possess something that is highly desirable by the masses or the selected few, and you can often guess the algorithm of those who subscribe to that belief by simply looking at them. I'm going to make another video about that. And my final suggestion is this: go to the library and borrow a few cookbooks with no intention of cooking, in particular those that carry far more than recipes. Look for a collection of stories about the culture, some old and new maps, pictures of the ingredients or the locals and their daily life. The purpose is to connect with authenticity in a non-digital way, one that is limited, because there is a last page, and that's a good thing. If a place is unmentioned under a photo, it will remain unknown. And I know at first that may sound restrictive, but it isn't. Stop with the gatekeeping nonsense. You don't need to know everything, where to buy these items, because what's happening is serious. You've been robbed not just of your attention, but also your imagination. Left as it is, without imagination and taking action, the value of this huge amount of data is simply an illusion. It's time to push back. Let's talk more about it in the comments. I may make a second video if I find more parallels between the series Pluribus and this topic. There's a winter storm outside, which is not typical for Copenhagen, so I apologize if there has been any noise from the wind. See you in the next video.